Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Here we go. So we got some breaking news just as I was about to upload this video. It looks like Cybercab rides of the production variant, no wheel, no pedals, will begin for employees at Giga Texas starting soon. TM. For my audio onlys, I did add that TM. But this is very clearly Tesla's way of taking the testing to a new level, letting their precious cargo, the employees in the vehicles, to test out the app, to go through all of the experience, to simulate pickup and drop off, to provide any feedback, really to get things as refined as possible before allowing the first customer in this vehicle. So if I had to guess, I would say maybe 2 to 3 weeks of more testing. Then at that point, we can see an official production Cybercab deployed to the Robotaxi network. And yes, something tells me this was the news that Lars had in mind at the Herbert interview. In my eyes, there's no way it was about the impact report. I know he might be a boomer, but he cannot be that far gone. This feels like an announcement that, for whatever reason, was delayed a little bit. This may not seem like it, but it is an important step before the scaling of the Cybercab. It's no longer just select test drivers or safety engineers, but likely a broader swath of the employees at Giga Texas. And who knows if they're just being driven around campus, or they'll go out on the roads, maybe take them to lunch, shuttle them back and forth from the employee parking lot. Who really knows? All we know is this step is a signal that Tesla is comfortable with where the production variant of the Cybercab is. It looks incredible in this video, so you absolutely love to see it. Very exciting news heading into the weekend. And yes, I know some of you out there will be rolling your eyes. You're just waiting for actual deployment and scale. I get it, but as I said, on this channel, we get into the weeds. We're gonna celebrate things like this. This vehicle is going to revolutionize transport. It might happen slower than we want it to happen, but I am going to enjoy every moment. So shout out to all the teams that made this possible. And as it turns out, today was Tesla's big announcement day. At least that's how I'm gonna call it. Trent has found something. Tesla will be commercially filming in Wrigleyville, Chicago on Monday, July 13th. 2 Cybercabs did just get delivered to Chicago last week at a site about 2 miles from this production. There's currently some AV legislation in the area working its way through the process right now, but as you can see on the filming notice, there will be commercial filming internally for Tesla. I did look up the filming company, Invasive People. It seems to check out, and for anyone in the area, it'll be both sides of Clark Street from Waveland Ave to Gray Street from 8 to 9 p.m. But on Monday, at a few different locations, Tesla will be filming from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. Right now in Chicago, there are no Robotaxi operations. Waymo is there, but they're only testing, started earlier this year. And yes, we know Tesla has also been testing in Chicago now for months. But Illinois is not one of the more AV-friendly states. And Chicago is not one of the cities Tesla has publicly announced to be in the launch cadence in the near term. But Tesla is clearly up to something in Chicago. We'll find out soon enough. Elon was supposed to appear on CNBC, of all places, earlier today, but word is he had to postpone, no reason given, no new date for an interview set. Elon was supposed to talk about Tesla, SpaceX's IPO, and Grok 4.5. I agree, Elon has better things to do, and frankly, I was surprised that he was going to make an appearance on that channel at all. So I guess it's now Lars and Elon that are doing us dirty with these head fakes. In an exclusive one from The Information today, they're now saying that Elon sent a company-wide email encouraging people to use Grok 4.5. In the memo, Elon said they should change to Grok 4.5 when it makes sense. He's not making it mandatory, just encouraging it. And no surprise, his rationale, the lower token cost of the performance of 4.5 relative to the competition. Elon also told the engineers to email him directly with any feedback on the model. And frankly, it's hard to really express my excitement about this data flywheel that's being spun up. Many of Elon's engineers providing the model with top-tier feedback that will be used to train future Grok models on SpaceX AI compute at Colossus to improve the brain that is Grok that's already in Tesla vehicles and will eventually be the brain for Optimus. And why wouldn't Elon encourage the switch to Grok at this point? Perplexity, who's largely independent because they have all models in their platform platform, said we evaluated Grok 4.5 against 5 other orchestrator configurations on their internal benchmark. It scored higher than every other configuration at roughly half the cost of Opus 4.8. On this chart, you want to be higher up the y-axis and further left on the x-axis. So here's Grok with the best performance at $4.76 per trial, compared to Opus 4.8 at $9.46 per trial, with worse performance from Opus. And as I said on X, it's really no longer just about raw intelligence. So much more of the conversation is in the harness and in the orchestration of these deep, complex tasks that require multiple sub-agents. So Grok 4.5 as the overarching program manager is the best at choosing what sub-agents to spin up and when, and tracking what work gets done, what work still needs to be done, and orchestrating the entire project. And Grok 4.5 is doing it at a fraction of the cost. You guys should know this is a big deal. Where will the money flow once people wake up to the fact that they can do the same level of work at roughly half the price? And I'll repeat, this is the first model release with some cursor training data. It will only get better with faster iterations from here. And read between the lines, Elon is asking for direct feedback with this model. So this AI use for engineers is definitely not some afterthought. This is a key push for all engineering teams right now. Elon doesn't need to be getting this direct feedback, but it's a sign how important it is to him, because he knows once this data flywheel is spun up and put in place and continually trained, it's going to lead to breakthroughs and even higher efficiency. Joe Tetmeyer has shown us that Tesla's Model Y L is now officially in production at Giga Texas, and we now have some spy shots of the Model Y L in Germany ahead of the European launch. And as we know, deliveries of this variant are expected in North America beginning September this year. The Model Y L did already receive the EU type approval late last year, and it doesn't have to be the same timeline, but in the US it took about 2 months after the Model Y L was spotted with camouflage for the order books to actually open up. So possibly somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 months for the EU configurator launch. The Road to Autonomy and David Moss were doing some field testing on the robotaxi launch in Miami. I just wanted to highlight in this video, they said they started trying to get an unsupervised ride around 10 a.m. and it took them until about 3 p.m. to get their first ride on this day. And the word at the time, this was 2 days ago, was there are 2 or 3, maybe 4 active vehicles in the service. And just in case anyone hasn't yet seen the geofence for Tesla and Waymo in Miami, Tesla's in the red, Waymo in the blue. So again, Tesla somewhere between 10 to 15 square miles, roughly 15% of the Waymo geofence.
The lot, located right on the fringe of the Miami International Airport, as you can see, had dozens of Cybercabs. While we were there, we did not witness one Cybercab go into service. However, based on the size of the lot, the location of the lot, and we want to emphasize the location even more, right on the fringe of the Miami International Airport, roughly 2 to 3 miles from Waymo's airport depot, there is a lot of synergies here. To us, this is a clear signal and a clear sign that Tesla is getting ready to ramp up Cybercab in the Miami market.
To that, I'd say respectfully, let's pump the brakes. Not a single one of those Cybercabs that I saw from the video had the official Cybercab badging. It was all just the engineering badging or none at all. Cybercab very clearly still only in the testing phase. I would only expect Model Ys in Miami for a few weeks. Yes, Tesla could surprise us, but to me, it would just make the most sense. Tesla will launch the Cybercab in the market where it has the most training data, and that's Austin. So look, on one hand, I love to see a new city, but on the other hand, we have to be realistic here. 10 to 15 square miles, 2 to 4 vehicles. And it takes somebody like David Moss, an expert on finding these unsupervised rides, multiple hours to get a ride. It's really not a service, it's just a beta. And yes, in Texas, Tesla might have 102 vehicles officially registered, but on the road at any given time, it's likely still somewhere between 30 and 50 active vehicles. So yes, I go in the weeds here, it's what we do, and I celebrate small milestones, but zooming out, we're now well over 1 year for Tesla's robotaxi operations, and we're somewhere in the neighborhood neighborhood of 40 to 50 unsupervised vehicles. And I'm only sharing this so we can try to understand why so many people are upset and frustrated. And yes, of course, I'm on board, safety first. I'm just saying, let's be honest, it's been a mostly disappointing first year of operations. Again, relative to expectations. I'm sure most of you have heard it by now, but oh boy, the nonsense in New Jersey right now against Tesla. Just to catch everybody up to speed, there's a bill expected up for a vote later this year that would require companies looking to operate fully autonomous vehicles in New Jersey to use cameras plus 2 other sensing technologies, most commonly LiDAR and radar. If enacted, New Jersey would be the first state to do something like this. But if you've been following along, you will know we've said this was only a matter of time. Here we are. And yes, this measure, if passed, would effectively prevent Tesla's camera-only system from operating in New Jersey unless they change the hardware. So yes, this is the reality of the clown world that we live in. We have politicians telling Tesla's engineers how to do their jobs. So this Andrew Zwicker is a physicist at Princeton Plasma Physics Lab. But as you're likely guessing, this is all about where the money is coming from. We have 4 interest groups backing this bill. Number 1, organized labor, specifically the Teamsters. And yes, this year they've been bragging about killing or narrowing bills in other states as part of their multi-year state-by-state campaign to slow AV deployment. The bill wants a human safety driver, 50,000 miles supervised, and a 3-year pilot before driverless commercial operation. But this gets so much better. The second group is SAVE US, stands for Safe Autonomous Vehicles Everywhere in the US. And get this, its national campaign director, Shua Sanchez, previously led the Tesla takedown movement, which yes, was that anti-Elon protest campaign at Tesla showrooms in Boston when Elon was running Doge. And Sanchez said, quote, "It's fair to say Tesla is the worst actor in this space." So let me be clear, this is not about safety, this really is anti-Elon and Tesla. And get this, SAVE US refuses to disclose its funders. The spokesman for the group has only said it's a few funders who have interests in autonomous vehicle tech. So we can speculate that's something like LiDAR or radar, something that competes with Tesla. And of course, Uber is out here lobbying to keep the human driver requirement. And sure, Waymo's fine with the bill because guess what? They use LiDAR and radar, so it doesn't really change anything for them. So this is perfect for Waymo. They get to enter the market as is, take their time to do testing, and they get to have Tesla locked out of that market. So I'm very confident saying this one is absolutely at least partially nefarious against Elon and Tesla. So if you want to join Tesla in opposing this bill, I will have the link below. Tesla makes it very easy. You just log into your account, click a few buttons. It's already pre-written for you. And yes, it's also true that that SAVE US group was the one primarily driving the extra sensor mandate. You know, the group that's being led by that anti-Elon activist. I think it's hard to gauge the chances of this bill actually passing as is. We'll have to wait for the votes later this year. But either way, when you peel back the veneer and get into what's really going on, it's just very upsetting. And to anybody out there saying, well, wait a minute, wouldn't extra sensors make it safer? The answer is no. It's called sensor fusion. You can look it up. And yes, it'll take Tesla some time to figure out how to operate safely in the snow and in the elements. But between camera cleaners and redundancy and just pulling off if conditions are too bad, hear me on this one, extra sensors are not the answer. Just look at all the dumb things Waymos have done. What more is there to say? Much to the dismay of many Hardware 3 owners in the United States, Tesla Korea said FSD V14 Lite is landing in Korea. And yes, this will be a gradual rollout in Korea, but as far as I can tell, most North American Hardware 3 owners still do not have a V14 Lite. And this is one thing I don't love about Tesla when they promote something as if everybody has access to it, and meanwhile there's like 3% of the fleet that actually has it. And then everybody else is waiting weeks for the feature. That communication should be better. It's literally marketing 101. Just be careful with the expectations you set. When it comes to the Model Y performance in China, of course it was available before the Juniper refresh, but after that it never made it back to the Chinese market. But today the word is the Model Y performance is getting ready to make its appearance again in the Chinese market. Post Juniper refresh, it's only been the standard range rear wheel drive, the long range in 2 variants, rear wheel and all wheel, and the Model Y L L was the 4th variant, so the Model Y Performance will now make number 5. Tesla released a cool video of some footage of construction crews removing the Model S and X factory lines in Fremont. A bit bittersweet, as those vehicles are the reason Tesla is a company today, but sometimes you have to clear things out to make way for new chapters. Based on certain clips of this footage, it looks like the new Optimus equipment is ready to go in, and we know Lars said Tesla's already receiving it from Tesla Automation in Germany. And not counting shipping, it takes a week or two to validate that equipment once it arrives here, but Tesla has 40 plus lines it needs to set up for various components. So the next few months we'll be getting those lines set up, and then maybe some low volume production by Q4. On the Tesla Careers page, you have some new listings for the Rental Readiness Specialist position. States like California, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Kansas, Washington, and Florida. I think this is an awesome program. Would love to see it continually expand. You can schedule a rental for up to 7 days, starting at $60 per day, and you charge for free at any supercharger. And the word is FSD is included, as it should be. LG Energy said it's expanding production of cylindrical batteries at its site in China, supported by rising demand for Tesla EVs, including the Model Y. LG is getting ready to start operating a new cylindrical battery production line to meet growing orders from Tesla. They said each production line has annual capacity of about 2 gigawatt hours, with total capacity expected to expand into the double-digit gigawatt hour range. So LG expanding to multiple new lines for cylindrical cells, but even if only one of those was for Tesla, 2 gigawatt hours is somewhere in the neighborhood of enough for 25,000 Model Ys. And briefly, we have to talk about 1X and NIO and their announcement of their 25 degree of freedom hands. These hands are made in the USA. They currently have a factory in Hayward, California, and they're building another one that'll be a few times larger, also in California, set to open later this year. And they said these are the hands that will ship on every NIO. That 25 degrees of freedom, it's 22 fully actuated in the fingers and the palm, and 3 at the wrist. If you push on a finger and it yields, it'll report exactly how hard you pushed. Force flows out and information flows back through the same physical path. And it's what turns a push into a measurement. So every hand activity and all of that sensor data is training the policy for the hands. And I have to admit, just looking at the engineering and the actuators and the tendons, it's a pretty incredible design. NIO can assemble Lego structures, pick up individual screws and coins from a wallet, spin and install light bulbs, use a screwdriver, rotate objects in a hand, zip a jacket, sort grapes by color, pour tea from a kettle, catch a squishy ball, plug in a USB-C charger, grab a wine glass, wipe surfaces with a paper towel and spray, and communicate via sign language, and infinitely more. And the hands are IP68 waterproof and food safe, allowing NIO to wash its own hands like a human. The hands feature rich, high-resolution tactile sensing across the fingertips and surfaces, measuring normal force, contact location, and shear. This enables NIO to detect when objects begin to slip and respond in real time. And the skin is co-designed with the sensors inside it and the tendons behind it. It's a functional material, not a cosmetic one. They said components and full finger assemblies have undergone millions of test cycles, drive units have been tested at extreme temperatures, and wrist joints have been proven reliable well beyond 2 million cycles under high loads. And just like Tesla was planning to do, might still be planning to do, the motors live in the forearm where most of your own grip strength lives. And the big one, they said hundreds of these hands have already come off a scalable production line. We make these hands on our dedicated line using high-yield processes with full end-of-line testing. Every unit is built end-to-end in-house, from tendon materials and 1X motors to the final soft polymers, skin, and tactile sensing stack. This gives us the capacity to produce 10,000 hands per year. So the hand itself, very impressive. And look, this is mostly an American company. Yes, they were founded in Norway, but most of their operations are currently in the States. And as I always say, not everything needs to be compared against Tesla, but everybody's going to do it naturally. And while the hand is a huge part of the hardware engineering, this entire story will ultimately be about the brain and who can get to actual autonomous operations. Remember, the 1X strategy strategy to go to market is to ship these to customer homes, but in the early days, they will all be remote operated. Yes, teleoperated by a 1X employee. That is how they plan to gather a lot of their real-world data early on. Tesla, on the other hand, will be doing most of its training in its own factories behind closed doors, yes, using teleoperation as part of the stack, but as far as we know, Tesla's early use case will be in-house. And it should go without saying, but we don't really know anything about NIO's cost of goods sold and what its realistic path to profitability or free cash flow actually is. But at the same time, we have to be reasonable. We need to give these companies time. It took Tesla over a decade to become profitable, in case you forgot. And look, I know Tesla owes us nothing. They owe us no demos. But if they really wanted to do something, they could easily throw a shirt on Optimus and put some gloves over the hands and do something. They have done demos in the past. And again, if you've been following along, you will know the drumbeat has been that Tesla has fallen behind and that things have not gone according to plan. Now, I have no idea how true those reports are, but Tesla has gone completely radio silent with Optimus now for months. But for whatever it's worth, do I think Tesla is behind? No, I think they're taking a different path. I think they're optimizing for different things. I think this whole who's ahead, who's behind thing is ultimately nonsense. Many different players are going to win in this market. The TAM is huge. And at the end of the day, it won't be about who is first to market. It's going to be who is first to a useful autonomous robot. Because I can tell you right now, teleoperation is not a long-term plan. But seriously, props to 1X. The hand looks incredible. I really hope they win as an American company. I'd love the consumers to have options. I'd love to see some early prototypes in homes. And if this lights a little fire inside the Tesla engineers, that's awesome too. SpaceX uploaded another video in this docuseries it's doing on Starship. I highly recommend you watch it. It's not really one that I can break down. Much of the greatness of the video is in the visuals and the scenery, but I'll have it linked below if you haven't seen it. Tesla stock closed the day at $407.76, up 0.3%, while SpaceX underperformed today, closing at $145.30, down 4.51%. This while the NDX was up 0.33%. Hope you all have a safe and a wonderful weekend, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.